Assembly's live, so come subscribe. Your soul's in trial, or simply tired. Your soul medicine, it gets revived. The warrior line, soul tribe.
They look for me, and it is upsetting to them. I think, because I don't know, I think because I embody everything that threatens their fake manhood. I make my own money. I'm independent. I'm beautiful. I'm smart. I'm charismatic. And I'm married. And they're married. And they treat their wives like shit. They treat their wives like housekeeper, bang maid, free labor. And I make it clear that I don't live that life. And that upsets a lot of men because they're small. So recently there was this thing that I also posted where an OBGYN office, the staff thought it would be fun to post pictures of the table where women lie down or sit in the stirrups to have gynecological exams. There's an instrument called a speculum that's inserted into your body, and it's used to open you up so that the gynecologist can see inside your vagina and look, make sure everything's okay. In order to facilitate that procedure, you have to use lube. So, of course, where does the lube go? I mean, hello, we're all adults. We all have sex. Let's not be stupid here. So when the patients are finished and they get off the table and they give you wet wipes and towels to wipe yourself so you can get dressed again, there's a mess on the table from the procedure. The staff, predominantly women, white, thought it would be fun to take pictures with the stains on the table and make a mockery of their female patients.
Yeah.
So now I'm shifting it from talking about men doing it to women doing it.
Yeah.
To other women. What do they gain what do they gain to benefit from that? I can see why men do it. But why would women do it to other women?
Incredible.
Did you hear about that story?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah, and I had in my notes to comment on that, but I was like, I wanted to see what your comment was. Like, I'm asking you as a woman to answer your question. Why does a woman who destroys their own? I mean, it's like, a man doing is BS too. I mean, it's out of bounds too. But women doing it, I mean, what do you get out of it? What's the purpose? Because you, mean a woman, this is you. You are a woman. I'm not laughing at it. I'm just saying, I mean, what are we doing? Remind me who taught you to hate yourself, right? I mean,
there's a marked increase in cruelty that I noticed the second term that I spotted the first term.
Yes.
And he didn't create the cruelty in these people. The cruelty was always there. It's just like he didn't invent racism. The racism was always there. He just emboldens it.
Yeah.
And so you've got these women working in healthcare, which is a helper profession. You're supposed to be helping people. People are coming to you because they need help. And the way you treat that is by disrespecting their vulnerability and basically betraying your own gender. So we go back to white women voted for Trump 3 times in a row, overwhelmingly, from that to this.
Yeah.
I know the conversation we're supposed to have is how men disrespect women, and they do. They disrespect women in such egregious ways, like, cutting our healthcare benefits, the public perception of women's intelligence, their skills, their abilities are always questioned far more than men's are, especially when a woman's in power. Whenever a woman claims any kind of harassment in the workplace, the jury always sides on the company that mistreated the woman. Federal employment, over 300,000 Black women were unceremoniously laid off. The EEOC seeking to dismiss gender identity discrimination cases, and then there's systemic discrimination in corporate positions like tech, and then retail environments. Women are forced to dress a certain way, different from men,
Right.
and you're also forced to behave certain ways,
Right.
whereas men are not required to do that. And there's the DEI initiatives, the financial instability, the wage inequality. I could go on forever. Title X. There's so much against women that is perpetuated by men.
Right.
But while we're having this conversation, I really want to have the conversation. Women do it to other women. And by women, I mean predominantly white women.
Yes, they do.
Do it to other women. So if you're a woman and you're a Black woman, or you're a woman and you're a woman of color, you're fighting all the things that all women fight with an additional layer.
Yes.
Because I could have gone to that. I could have gone to that practice. Granted, it was in Southern California, but it was close enough to home that one could easily deduce that behavior is probably prevalent within the entire state of California. The liberal haven, which is not. If Southern California is not Northern California. So I just wanted to bring that up because it is a layer to this conversation. Maybe that's why men think they can treat women the way they treat them, because they learn it from their mothers and their sisters and their cousins and their aunts who also hate women.
Excellent point. That's a definite layer that I want to discuss, because women hating women. Women, it's just like Malcolm X asked Black people decades ago, who taught you to hate yourself as a Black? Who taught you to hate your nose? Why do you hate your lips? Why do you hate the way you look? He was making the case. The same with the women. Who? Why do you hate yourself? Why would you, in that OBGYN environment, why would you do another woman, like not a man, another woman like that? It's like, it's inconceivable. But as you said earlier, it gets worse. The cruelty is worse. The cruelty is deeper. The degeneracy just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and we go lower and lower and lower. And this is why we had this conversation. See, we have conversations that people, because everybody wants the 30-second soundbite and the fancy saying, but when you have a conversation like this, you really get to the root of the why. Why do we hate ourselves? Why do, as the numbers say, still, white women voted for this person greater than another woman against another woman. And so you would think it would be so, but it is, because cruelty is something that, that it will latch hold to anybody who allowed it to latch hold to, even against your own kind. And that's terrible. I really appreciate you illustrating that. Excellent point.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the current administration, my gosh, this is so frustrating. So the white women who voted for Trump and enabled this administration that is hell-bent on eliminating as many rights of the few rights women fought for, which puts Black women and women of color at even greater risk, greater danger. I'm in a place now where I'm beyond. Why did they do that? Mm-hmm. Why did they? I don't care. They did it because they wanted to, so it's done. The milk is already spilled. Let's move on.
Right.
We are in very scary time. The administration just announced that they wanted to eliminate all the domestic abuse protections President Obama put in place. Right. President Biden put in place. President Obama did too, but there was the felon's first term. Mm-hmm. And then President Biden, that's one of his key things. That's one of his key issues. They want to make domestic abuse a non-chargeable offense. Mm-hmm. So when women are abused in their homes by their husbands, the police will not come. Right. Because they didn't do anything wrong. Women voted for this. And so instead of spending my energy going in circles asking the rhetorical question that the answer keeps going to the same magic 8-ball response, which is they like it, they want it, they voted for it, they are adults, they are not stupid, they knew what they were voting for and they voted for it. Mm-hmm. And we would be foolish to pretend they're stupid. They're not stupid, because last time I checked, Republicans are dunking on Democrats every effing day. We are so stupid. We are so weak. We deserve it because we can't unite. We're so busy arguing how stupid they are. They're so dumb. They're so stupid. Meanwhile, look at everything they've accomplished in less than a year. Yeah. Majority of Project 2025 has been enacted. The largest transfer of wealth happened. How foolish are we to sit here smugly saying they're so stupid, they're so dumb, they vote against their own interest. Maybe that is their interest. Mm-hmm. Maybe it is in their interest. Maybe they want their 10-year-old daughters to be raped by 70-year-old men so that they can get money to open a business for the family. Maybe they want to prostitute their children. Maybe they want their children to be beaten in schools because they don't know the 10 Commandments. We don't know. Mm-hmm. And I don't need to investigate it either. But what I do know is this administration, as recently as this week, spoke to the press about making domestic violence not a big deal.
Misdemeanor, yeah.
What a man does with his wife is his business. Yeah. So it doesn't end with domestic violence. Then it becomes marital rape. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes your children being raped by your husband because you married an abuser and he's now empowered within the household. And there's no one that's going to come to protect you. Mm-hmm. Because that's what the patriarchy wanted. And that's what white women voted for. These are the same white women who took those pictures as nurses in an OBGYN office. So we would actually be wise to make the distinction between women who are being broken by the system and women who are reinforcing and upholding the system on behalf of the men who are talking to other men. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think women are innocent in this. And I also don't think it's only white women, but I think it's predominantly white.
Yeah. Well, I know you heard me say, I've never been on this, and I regret my vote. From day one, I don't want to hear it, because it don't matter. We talked about this on this program. But oh, I regret my no. I don't care. It doesn't. It doesn't matter if you regret it. He's there for 4 years. Pure point blank. And it's over.
Hopefully.
I'm just
hopefully 4 years.
Hopefully. But I'm just saying, the regretting the vote don't matter. When they certified that, when Vice President Harris certified that election in January, it's done. He's there till whenever. So you saying, not you, people saying, particularly white people in particular, because I regret my vote. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. The milk is spilled. It's done. It's over. And so
I think if you're in a generous mood, ask them why.
Yeah, I mean, and they give the answer of something's affecting them, right. and they play this game like you just said, and I'm not going to play with them. Like they didn't know. They try to act stupid or act like you're in a cult. No. I'm not. No, I don't want to hear it. You knew exactly what you were doing. This was his second time running. Everything was his. The black woman that you hate or hated, I probably still hate, told you everything that was going to happen. It was all laid out in Pride 25. The first day of our campaign. I keep talking about this, the campaign. So you're not stupid. You can't have it both ways. You're not going to play the ignorant game when you had everything laid out before you. But now because it's affecting your life, and we talked about children being hungry and people are suffering, and now you're suffering, and all these farmers, all these people suffering. I'm just in a place to these voters, I don't want to hear your regrets, because your regrets don't matter. Your regrets don't change anything. So it really don't. For me, it don't really know, because it don't change anything. You're regretting it because you're selfish. Because the person you see in the mirror is your God, and the only thing you cared about was yourself and voting against a black woman because you couldn't stomach. You just could not stomach that a woman, particularly a black woman, we're talking about women tonight, would be the president of the United States. You just could not stomach that. You couldn't deal with that. You couldn't handle that. Well, then I'm telling you, handle what's happening now, because your regret is not going to change. That man do not care. He got what he wanted back in that office, and he's back there, and he don't care your regrets, and that's not a concern to him at all. He's back in office. And so, but I'm with you. I don't want to hear don't play the stupid game. You wasn't stupid. You were fully aware, full of agency in your mind, and you went in there and did what you did. So miss me with the regret stuff. I've never been on that train or listening to that. No. I don't care about your regrets. Handle it. Deal with it. Because you did have a choice. And there's things called consequences. You hear that so much now. It's just, no. Their regrets don't move me at all. Because as you said, it's a waste of energy. I got to figure out how I'm going to take care of my community. I got to figure out how I'm going to feed children. I got to figure out how I'm going to do my part to make children that's suffering right now, that's got food insecurity and no food at all, eat in my community. I got to affect the lives around me. When I see a child hungry, when I get a call from my wife at school that says, bring some food up here because this child not eat. That's what my energy is. I don't have time for your regrets. I got to take some food to a kid that you called to suffer because you voted. Not you. I'm not saying you. I mean, you know how I'm talking. That they called to suffer because of their vote. So that's what my energy is. Focusing on these kids that they had no agency to do anything, but suffer at the hands of grown-ups making these decisions. So I don't care about your regret, crying, whining on these TV shows about you regret this, or you didn't know this was going to happen, or you didn't think it was going to be like this. Everything was laid out before you. That's, to me, back to the women, that's just, again, Jennifer, this how I take that. These people that say I'm regret don't want to acknowledge the fact that a black woman, a brilliant, black, qualified woman who's a vice president of the United States, qualified in office, ready to take on the mantle of the presidency. 107 days she ran around this country. She answered the call of the country. The president said he couldn't do it no more. She answered the call. She took up the baton. She inspired the nation. You can't give her credit and say you were wrong. Don't tell me you regret. Tell me you were wrong. Then yeah. But don't tell me you regret. No, tell me I was wrong. I knew fully what I was doing. I didn't listen. Whether I'm misogynistic, whether I'm sexist, whatever I was, I allowed that to take hold of me and I voted. I chose to vote for a degenerate when I had a choice of a person that could have took this country forward. Laid out everything they needed to hear, had a plan for, programs, had a plan for jobs, had a plan for this. So now you deal with that ICE agent. You deal with that ICE agent, that mass ICE agent in your neighborhood. But I got to worry about concerning myself of taking care of the people who did cause this, which was children, and feeding them in my community. And that's what we do at my church. So their regrets and all that kind of stuff, no, they go down the road with that. You wasn't stupid. This is not North Korea. You want to end up a blacked out society where you couldn't see news reports. You did what you did. So
when I look at what this administration has done from a logical standpoint, because I have to survive it,
right,
as most women do. And I have two daughters who also have to navigate these waters. And my daughters are of childbearing age, which is even more terrifying. I consider the things like cuts to global aid, Title X freeze, so reducing domestic reproductive health services like OBGYN care, Planned Parenthood, reinforcing the Hyde Amendment. So now we're in the Roe v. Wade, the criminalization of abortion, and even if you have a miscarriage, your gender is only biological, so transgendered women are not considered women, which means they also don't get access to health care and medications like their hormones, the same medication that menopausal women get. And that's a double, right? Right. If a transgendered woman isn't given estrogen patches and creams, guess what that means for a genetically born woman? You also are not getting patches and creams. So women actually have a lot in common with transgendered women, which is what I was saying earlier. They are women, and we would be smart to start treating, hello, can we advance to 2025 already? Anyway, and then there's the sports bans on trans athletes. So they've made the transition. They're now women, and they have even less rights than women do. Mm-hmm. I'm not okay with that. I think that's complete BS. The DEI rollback, we already established that white women were the primary beneficiaries of DEI. However, having said that, the small percentage of Black women that were helped with these DEI initiatives, that's gone. Yeah. And there's so few resources that trickle down to the Black community. That's really frustrating to me. And then they have website and data censorship, so they're reducing access to gender health information. Like, what did you think that big tech dinner was about? It wasn't just about getting money and stealing our data. It was also about limiting what we can see. We're a heartbeat away from having restricted internet access like China. Right. And then there's the environmental and public health cuts. Okay, so we can't get a vaccine. We can't go to the OBGYN because if you're afraid that you're pregnant, they're going to report you. And if anything happens to that fetus, you're going to jail. Yeah. Okay? So you're less likely to seek care. Now, if you have an abusive spouse who cheats on you and you think you have an STI or STD, you can't go to the doctor because there's a high likelihood that you might be pregnant and you don't know. And they're going to know when you know. Right. Also, hello, domestic violence. They're no longer going to ask you in your appointments, are you safe at home? Because that is the number one question they ask you at the gynecologist. Do you feel safe at home? Are you being coerced into having sex with your partner? So they're no longer going to ask that anymore? Right. Oh my gosh. And then the civil rights erosion, weaker legal recourses against discriminatory impacts. We're watching that right now. Right. Where it doesn't, I mean, obviously, if there's no DEI, there's definitely not going to be any safeguards or guardrails for anyone who is a minority or a Black person in the corporate workplace, let alone the military, let alone the police force, let alone working in a hospital. Like, we're just, okay, and then domestic violence, the cuts, and it's just devaluing domestic violence survivor experiences and our support systems. So considering all of that, what did these women vote for? How does that help them as a gender? Is it because they're ruining it for all of us? They get the satisfaction in that? I'm not getting it.
As you said earlier, I'm sorry, go ahead.
This administration is way smarter. They're way more effective. They're way more efficient. And they're expedient. You have the courts telling President Biden he can't forgive student loans. Look what this administration has accomplished through executive orders. They're not even laws. They're executive orders. And women voted for this. Predominantly white women. They voted for all of the stuff I just mentioned. How does that benefit them? It doesn't. So what was their motivation? They're not stupid. Everything that's happening, they like it. They're watching it and they're approving it. They like it. They don't care. If we're going to fight them, we have to fight smart.